Well, the Super Bowl just happened, the biggest event of the football season. But I don't really care about that, I just care about the trailers that are released each year during the Super Bowl. Today I'm going to rank every movie trailer released at the Super Bowl from worst to best. Well, Fantastic Four: First Steps is disqualified from my list. Because the Fantastic Four trailer was not actually released during the airtime of the Super Bowl, and they basically just replayed the original trailer that they released a week prior. Wow, Marvel, it's not exactly like you're strapped for cash. Especially because Marvel was able to play the Thunderbolts trailer during the Super Bowl, so why not play the Fantastic Four trailer? I mean, Fantastic Four looks to be even better than Thunderbolts. It can't be worse than the last Fantastic Four film, and wow, did that thing bomb. I still don't know why people are complaining about the CGI in the trailer of The Thing, because they're just going for a more comic accurate version of The Thing. The CGI to me doesn't look bad, they're just interpreting the character in a much different way than they have in the past. Each version of The Thing has been pretty different. The 2005 Thing was practical makeup appliances, the rebooted version had more of a realistic rock look, and this one's going for more of the comic book rock look. I also like how they really got this all-star cast to be in it. I think Pedro Pascal is a great choice to play Mr. Fantastic after seeing him as the Mandalorian and Joel in The Last of Us. Pedro Pascal is a top-tier actor, and he can really bring a lot to the source material, especially when they're not exactly that strong. Take Wonder Woman 1984 for example. Not the best film, but what Pedro Pascal does in that film actually elevates it over what it would have been without him in that cast.
Say that again?
It's fantastic.
Yes, it is.
Did we really need another Smurfs movie? This trailer deflated my expectations like a sad whoopee cushion, because those last two films were real cinematic masterpieces, weren't they? This film straight up looks like a case of plagiarism to me. I mean, there's not really that much difference between the 2012 live-action Smurf films and this film. Take the plot from the 2012 film, slap some 2D animation on top of it, and then slide in a couple pop culture references for the kids, and you basically got this movie. But look, Rihanna.
I've always looked good in blue.
Why do the Smurfs, specifically Smurfette, know what Paris is? If they've never been to the real world in their entire life, why would they know this little piece of information? This is both bad storytelling and bad writing. I dare you to watch the entire 1.5-minute trailer online. I cannot tell you how garbage that version is. At least this trailer is better because it's only 30 seconds, so there's less garbage playing on screen. Maybe this movie will sucker in some kids and parents who don't know what the heck this thing is about and just see the word Smurfs. Do they really have to put the word Smurf in front of everything? I feel like I've been smurfed. So smurf off. Well, this one isn't really a trailer, which I'm surprised by because their competitor Marvel came to the table with Thunderbolts. And Superman? No trailer? I know they have the trailer online that has done really well and become one of the top viewed trailers of all time, but they still should have one at the Super Bowl. Superman is a movie that's basically restarting DC as a brand on the big screen. After the disastrous fall of the old DCEU films, I mean, DC was in such a decline over the past few years, I'm surprised they're not putting more into this marketing campaign. No, instead of a trailer, we get James Gunn talking about Crypto, the super dog, and making jokes about Green Lantern? I mean, for why? I mean, it's kind of cool to see the dog that James Gunn had adopted a year prior to making Superman, and that led to the creation of Crypto the Superdog, but I was still hoping for a full trailer. I would have rather seen more footage from the film or just a recut of the original trailer because that stuff's amazing. Overall, I think the marketing for Superman at the Super Bowl was rather disappointing for such a well-established character in pop culture and for the movie in general. I mean, it's literally called the Super Bowl. Mission Impossible Final Reckoning showed a 30-second spot at the Super Bowl, and I have to say this 30-second spot is just a recut of the original trailer, with a few added shots sprinkled in. I mean, it really focuses in on the action. It doesn't give us a lot of what the story will look like, even though these films are basically known for their action sequences. I think the real draw with this film is the fact that this is probably the last Mission Impossible film that will feature Tom Cruise in the title role of Ethan Hunt. I'm glad the cast from the original film is returning because I really like those characters as well. They really work well as a team. Mission Impossible Fallout is probably my favorite action film of the 21st century. There's not really anything offensively wrong with this trailer, it's just the fact that we're not seeing anything new footage-wise, and it doesn't give us the most dazzling or interesting look at what the film will look like. The Megan 2.0 trailer is the definition of a first look trailer. It consists of Megan dancing, and that's literally all it has to be. I mean, it fits perfectly with the vibe of the original Megan film. Her dance went viral all over social media during that movie's release, so it's kind of a genius marketing strategy to also target that dance in the Super Bowl ad. I'm really looking forward to the sequel of Megan, even though it's not like one of my favorite horror movies of all time. I think it's more of a comedy actually, but I think it will do really well at the box office like the last one, and I hope for nothing but the best for it. Novocaine is a film that I haven't heard much about until recently. Jack Quaid, who plays the main character in the film, has been in things like The Boys and Star Trek Lower Decks. Also, he was in a film recently called Companion, which I thought was really good. I mean, you put Jack Quaid in anything, and he'll heighten the original material. The main gimmick or story of the film revolves around Jack Quaid's character, as he can feel no pain. I mean, in the trailer, he hits someone with a scalding hot pan, gets stabbed, gets shot, basically everything you can think of in an action film. I also really enjoyed the quick cut action sequences in the trailer, which reminded me of the John Wick franchise. And if this film can be anything like the action in John Wick, we're looking at a film that can be really good. I'm getting more excited the more I hear about Novocaine, and I think this film will be something pretty great. I haven't seen How to Train Your Dragon since I was a kid and it first came out in theaters. But even before the rest of the sequels were made, I remember the first film was incredible. So why make a live-action remake? I think this is still from the mindset of people thinking that animation is still not the true medium, and having it quote-unquote live action will make the story better. And I don't think translating it to live action will either improve or worsen the story. I mean, we're just doing the same thing. I never understand why we do shot-for-shot remakes of films that were great in their own right just to translate it into a different medium. Live action animation, animation to live action, it just doesn't make any sense. Well, I guess it is when you're counting box office, because these films seem to make bank at them. It just worries me that this is the exact same thing as the animated version because they have the same director doing this film. Although I will admit the cinematography and visual effects of this film look incredible. I mean, the dragons and Toothless are translated really well from animation back to live action. I'm not exactly running out to the theater to see this thing, but I'm guessing it will be on par with the original How to Train Your Dragon, and the trailer does a really great job in establishing the transition from animation to live action will be less a hindrance and more of a benefit to the film. Well, this isn't a trailer either. It's just 30 seconds of Stitch running around the football field doing some fun and crazy antics. It sort of reminds me of the marketing campaign and the original trailers of Lilo and Stitch back in the day. Stitch would basically break the fourth wall and go into Disney Renaissance films such as The Lion King, Aladdin, and Beauty and the Beast and just invade their space. I'm not really sold on this movie though. Disney live-action remakes have been rather hit and miss lately. And even when they tend to do something very, very well, they tend to miss the mark on some very important things. I'm looking at you, Little Mermaid. What happened to the French chef?
No, I was just, I'm sorry, madame.
All I know is Disney, don't mess up Lilo and Stitch, or you're gonna be at war with the fan base. F1 is another racing film starring Brad Pitt. And already you're at a disadvantage because you're not going to beat the best racing films of all time, which is the Cars trilogy. Now that's just cinema. From what I can see in the trailer, this film really reminds me of Ford v Ferrari. Ford v Ferrari was a top-tier racing film that combines some really great action sequences with also really great storytelling. And if F1 can find that balance between the action and the storytelling aspects, I think we're looking at a film that's something truly special. The fact that this film is directed by the same person that directed Top Gun Maverick also gives me a lot of hope that this is something really great. You can even see in the trailer those shots within the F1 formula cars are the shots you see of the pilots in Top Gun Maverick. I think F1 has a really great chance of being one of the best films of this year, and if it can be anything like Ford v Ferrari, we're looking at something truly special. Who likes dinosaurs? Apparently everyone, because literally every Jurassic World film has made upwards of $1 billion, and Jurassic World Rebirth will do exactly the same. They got major stars for this film like Scarlett Johansson, Jonathan Bailey, and Mahershala Ali. It's interesting seeing Scarlett Johansson in another major franchise right after her long run as Black Widow in the MCU. I also like the direction that this trailer is showing that the franchise is taking, with more of a darker tone similar to the original Jurassic Park films. Because not only is this just about dinosaurs and having more of a comedic tone, but also having that darker tone that we don't see as much of anymore. I like how we're going back to basics, going back to the island, going back to the research laboratory, and really getting back to the basics of what made Jurassic World and Jurassic Park great. This trailer really got me interested in the Jurassic World franchise again. I mean, you just put dinosaurs in front of a film and you basically have the kid audience. I think this trailer did a great job in establishing that Jurassic World isn't just about dinosaurs and action, but we will actually get a great story in service of the dinosaurs. So once again, I think dinosaurs will be at the top of the box office this year. Thunderbolts is by far the best trailer of the Super Bowl. Not only is it the longest trailer of the Super Bowl, but it also gives us a great look at the overall characters and the story it's trying to tell within the MCU. Basically, Elaine from Seinfeld is recruiting a group of B and C level superheroes from within the MCU. This is an era in the MCU where they're trying to figure out who is going to keep them safe after the Avengers have been disbanded apparently. This movie has to do a great job in establishing these B and C tier level characters. It's not like a lot of people were waiting in anticipation for the Ghost to return from Ant-Man and the Wasp. Like, I forgot this character existed even. So this film is going to have to do an incredible job in establishing these characters more in the MCU and establishing the relationships between each other in the Thunderbolts. Definitely the best trailer coming out of the Super Bowl, and it definitely raised my expectations of what this film will look like, and I have more hope that it actually be really good. Now, Captain America: Brave New World? I don't know.
It's okay. I could have had a career.
And that was my ranking of every single movie trailer released during the Super Bowl from worst to best. 2025 seems to be looking like a very great year for movies. What are some trailers that you think are the best from the Super Bowl? And what are some movies you're looking forward to seeing in the theaters this year? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. And on that note, I'll just leave you with this.
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?